Quick, son, we have to do this before your mom comes home. His voice was urgent, low, as he glanced toward the door, the weight of the moment pressing on them. They both knew time was slipping away fast, the thrill of what they were doing intensifying with every heartbeat. We don't have much time, he whispered, his hands already moving, pulling him closer. The tension between them was undeniable, the danger of being caught making it even more exhilarating. Let's make this count before she walks in. The urgency in his voice left no room for hesitation. The house was eerily quiet, save for the soft hum of the air conditioning. The dim glow from the kitchen light filtered down the hallway, casting a soft, golden hue over the floor. Stepdad lay on the bed, the sheets barely covering his toned body. His chest rose and fell steadily as he slept, unaware of the figure standing in the doorway. Son stood there, his breath catching in his throat as he watched Stepdad. The pull between them had grown unbearable, a magnetic force that seemed impossible to resist. He knew it was wrong, that they shouldn't even be thinking about this, but the fire burning inside him was overwhelming. His body ached for something he couldn't put into words, and he felt helpless against the tide of desire crashing over him. Step by step, he moved closer to the bed, his fingers brushing lightly against the wall as he moved, grounding himself for what he was about to do. The soft sound of his footsteps was almost lost in the quiet of the house, but each step felt like it echoed in his mind, heightening the tension. He reached the edge of the bed, his eyes fixed on Stepdad's sleeping form. His chest was exposed, the sheets draped loosely around his waist, revealing the taut muscles of his abdomen. Son's breath hitched as he knelt by the bed, his fingers hovering just inches from Stepdad's skin. The warmth radiating from his body was intoxicating, and the pull between them felt almost unbearable now. He hesitated, his heart pounding in his chest. His fingers trembled as they hovered above Stepdad's arm, the temptation to touch him growing stronger with every passing second. His mind screamed at him to stop, but his body refused to listen. He needed to feel that connection, to cross that line they'd both been dancing around for far too long. Slowly, hesitantly, Son's fingers brushed against Stepdad's forearm. The touch was light, barely more than a whisper, but it sent a jolt of electricity through him. Stepdad stirred slightly, his body shifting under the sheets, but he didn't wake. Encouraged, Son let his hand linger, his fingers tracing the muscles of Stepdad's arm, feeling the strength beneath the skin. As his hand moved higher, Son's breath grew shallow. He wasn't sure what he was doing, but his body seemed to be moving on its own, driven by the hunger burning inside him. His fingers grazed Stepdad's shoulder, tracing the curve of his neck, before finally resting against his jaw. The warmth of his skin sent shivers down Son's spine, and he bit his lip, fighting the urge to lean in closer. Just then, Stepdad stirred again, his eyes fluttering open. For a brief moment, their eyes met, and the world seemed to stop. There was no confusion in Stepdad's gaze, no anger, only something deep and unspoken that passed between them. Son's heart raced as he leaned in closer, his lips hovering just inches from Stepdad's. "We shouldn't," Stepdad whispered, his voice hoarse with sleep, but there was no conviction behind the words. His hand reached up, fingers tangling in Son's hair, pulling him closer. "We don't have to stop," Son murmured back, his lips brushing lightly against stepdad's. The touch was soft, tentative, but it sent sparks of electricity through both of them. Stepdad's breath hitched, and in that moment, any remaining hesitation melted away. Their lips met again, this time more firmly, more urgently. The kiss was soft at first, a slow exploration, but it quickly deepened as the pent-up desire between them began to spill over. Son's hands roamed across stepdad's chest, feeling the heat of his skin beneath his fingertips. Stepdad groaned softly, his hand tightening in son's hair as he pulled him closer, deepening the kiss. Son climbed onto the bed, his body pressing against stepdad's as their lips moved together in a frenzy of heat and passion. The world outside ceased to exist, there was only this moment, this forbidden connection that neither of them could deny any longer. Stepdad's hands roamed down son's back, pulling him closer until their bodies were pressed together, every inch of them touching. The sheets rustled beneath them as son shifted, straddling stepdad's waist. He leaned down, his lips trailing kisses along stepdad's jawline, down his neck, and across his chest. Each kiss was slow, deliberate, teasing, and he could feel stepdad's body responding beneath him, the tension growing with every touch. "You're driving me crazy," stepdad murmured, his voice thick with need as his hands roamed up son's thighs, pulling him down so their hips pressed together. "That's the idea," son whispered back, a mischievous smile playing on his lips as he leaned down to capture stepdad's mouth in another heated kiss. Their bodies moved together, a slow, teasing rhythm that built the heat between them to a fever pitch. Son could feel stepdad's desire, the way his hands gripped him tighter, the way his breath came in ragged gasps. Son's hands slid lower, teasing the waistband of stepdad's jeans before slipping beneath, his fingers brushing against the heat of his skin. Stepdad let out a low groan, his hips bucking slightly as son's hand explored lower, teasing him with light, lingering touches. "Don't tease," stepdad growled, his voice a low rumble that sent shivers down son's spine. He grabbed son's wrist, pulling him down until their lips met again in a kiss that was anything but gentle. It was desperate, hungry, filled with the intensity of the moment. "I want all of you," son whispered against stepdad's lips, his fingers working deftly to undo the button of his jeans, his hands slipping inside to finally feel the heat of stepdad's body against his own. The sound of their breathing filled the room as they lost themselves in each other, the urgency of the moment driving them both over the edge. Every kiss, every touch was electric, fueling the fire that burned between them. The world outside ceased to exist, and in that moment, they were the only two people who mattered. As they lay together, their bodies entwined in the soft glow of the night, son knew there was no going back. They had crossed a line, one that couldn't be undone, but the connection they shared was undeniable. It was dangerous, forbidden, but it felt too right to ignore. "You're mine now," stepdad whispered, his lips brushing against son's ear, his voice filled with a possessive heat that made son's heart race. "I've always been yours," son whispered back, his fingers tracing lazy circles across stepdad's chest as they lay together, savoring the moment before reality would inevitably come crashing back. But for now, they were lost in each other, wrapped up in the heat of the night and the bond they could no longer deny.